FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is December 6th, 2019. Well, one of our favorite guests, person I've learned personally quite a bit from, Gerald Celente, is with us now. And, well, what can you say about Gerald that hasn't been said before? A real thinker. His publication, Trends Journal, is really unparalleled, and we're here to get some insight. What would you like to know from Gerald? Just email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. So, Gerald, welcome back. And what's going on in the world now?
It's, we come out with in a couple of days, we're coming out with our top 2020 trends. And one of them is New World Disorder. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Hong Kong, Spain, France, Lebanon, Chile, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Guinea, all over the world. Uprisings, protests, civil wars, demonstrations. Never have I witnessed anything like this. And the foundation of it are two points: freedom and income inequality. In Spain, in Hong Kong, it's about we don't want the government running our lives the way they are. And in Hong Kong, they know it. They go there, they have an autonomy thing there where China owns the place, but they're giving them freedom to have autonomy for 40 years following the British giving it back to them in 1997 after they colonized it for all those years. Yeah. And the people in Hong Kong know how terrible it will be living under Chinese communist rule. So they're fighting for their lives, basically. Yeah. And in France, it's Catalonia. And by the way, not France, Spain. Yeah. Catalonia. And they just passed a law in Spain where now the government has the right to close down the internet when they feel appropriate. Mm-hmm. Isn't that great, huh? You talk about these communist countries, right? You talk about Russia, right? How about nobody's talking about what's going on in Spain? Yeah,
crazy. So, hey, one thing
all around the world, and then the income inequality with Chile and the other nations. The people. You're looking at the Argentinian pesos declined 37% against the dollar this year. The Brazilian reals hit a new low. The Chilean currency down, new low. I mean, this is serious stuff that's going on.
Yeah, very serious. So let's look at Hong Kong, because what surprises me, Gerald, and maybe you can help me understand it better, is why the Chinese did not just choke off these demonstrations, gone full Tiananmen Square from day one, because the worst thing that a despotic government can do is appear to be weak in the face of being challenged. And obviously, they feel that the cost of doing that is greater than the potential reward of getting Hong Kong back. I guess maybe they can exercise that option anytime they want. What is the Communist Party's strategy here?
They're concerned because of Hong Kong. Oh, by the way, Hong Kong's retail sales are off like 27%. They're into a recession. Hong Kong is into a recession because of this.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, since the Panic of '08, Anyway, they're not going in because they don't want to lose Hong Kong's status as the Asian banking capital. That's what they're concerned about. They're concerned about the market, the Hang Seng. So they're very cautious about that. It's getting out of hand. To me, I don't understand. And I know about, about the police violence, but also a lot of the demonstrators, I don't know how many, but enough, are destroying Chinese-owned businesses.
Yeah.
So the violence, what they did when they took over these universities, I mean, they turned some of these places into junk. They
trashed them.
Why are they doing this? Doesn't make sense to me. And I realize they're always agents provocateurs.
Right.
But I think it's more than that. And I think that these countries that are demonstrating and then they go into looting and violence, they're really defeating themselves. And that will give them, the governments, the excuse to crack down on them.
All right. Well, but the thing is, their trade negotiations with the U.S., if they really violently crack down on these demonstrations, there's going to be a cost to be paid on that front as well. Were you surprised that Trump signed those two anti-Chinese resolutions or pro-Hong Kong demonstrator resolutions? I mean, he didn't even wait. He just did it. And it surprised me, honestly, because it seems to, if he really wants a trade deal, kind of undercuts that negotiation, doesn't it?
Not at all. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
People are underestimating Trump. This is the guy that, he's the art of the deal. That's the name of his book. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's playing everybody. That bill was passed by such large numbers in the House and Senate that it could not be vetoed by the president.
Mm-hmm.
He signed it. It didn't make any difference. It was going to happen anyway. So knowing Trump, and we wrote this in the Trends Journal. The magazine, of course, is now a weekly. And we wrote about this in the magazine that just went out this past Tuesday. That would Trump, the administration, contact the Chinese, told them the deal, listen, we can't stop this from going through. It's out of our control. But the president's going to sign it to make it pretend like he's on the side of everybody. Because if he doesn't sign it and it goes through, it's going to cost us. And we're not going to do that. So they said that in diplomatic language. Number two, Trump then comes out earlier this week and says that he may hold back on the China trade deal until after the 2020 election. And the equity markets plunged like over 400 points.
Yeah.
And then they closed down about 250 on Tuesday. So, and he said, well, the trade deal's moving forward. It's the art of the deal. We forecast that Trump is going to have signed the trade deal, have a peace treaty with North Korea, and a peace deal with Afghanistan just prior to Election Day, months before Election Day next year. He's playing the crowd. This is what he does. He's the reality show champion, and everyone seems to forget that.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I knew there was something I wasn't catching on there. So it was inevitable, and he just signed on, and you think he's just going to dump the Hong Kong people when it suits him?
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Today's show is brought to you by U.S. Gold Corp. U.S. Gold Corp is a U.S.-focused gold exploration and development company advancing high-potential projects in Wyoming and Nevada. U.S. Gold Corp has consolidated a district on Nevada's productive Cortex trend and is advancing the Copper King project towards production in Wyoming, led by a team of prolific company builders and renowned explorers, including Dave Mathewson, who is directly responsible for several major Nevada gold discoveries. U.S. Gold Corp is well-capitalized and has an extremely tight share structure with less than 20 million shares outstanding and trades on the NASDAQ, a major exchange, under the ticker symbol USAU. To learn more, go to usgoldcorp.gold. That's usgoldcorp.gold.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Oh, yeah, you could care less. Trump only cares about himself. That's all he cares about. And by the way, I mentioned to you, we're coming out with our top trends for 2020. And I'll tell your audience what one of them is going to be. Probably the New World Disorder. Another one is Trump by default, 2020.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true.
Yeah.
You totally hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, and it's the fault of the Democrats.
Well, he's pretty unbeatable.
Oh yeah, because they have nobody. They have nobody of
What?
substance running against him.
You're not a Biden believer?
Biden, that's the other thing, by the way. If Biden runs, he gets the nomination. First of all, we make the forecast that if Warren or Sanders get the Democratic nomination, they're not going to win the swing states. It's as simple as that.
They'll never get it.
I'm just saying, if they got it.
Yeah, right.
If Biden gets it, this impeachment thing that they brought up against Trump is going to backfire so badly.
Yes.
Because what's the impeachment about? First of all, he held back $500 million of our money going to the military-industrial complex via their deal with Ukraine. We, the stupid people, stealing our money that we work so hard for to give $500 million as our country's rotting to go to the military-industrial complex deal in Ukraine. So Trump holds that back because he wants to find out the dirt on Joe Biden's boy Hunter, how he got a $3 million deal along with John Kerry's stepson-in-law, Christopher Hines, the Hines 57 family, and his partner got a deal to be on the board of Burisma Energy in Ukraine when these two little boys don't know crap about Burisma, or you've never been to Ukraine and know anything about energy. This is going to backfire on Biden.
Yeah, it already has. It already is. And look, one thing, I hate both parties. We're both.
As I do.
Yeah, I'm a libertarian. Dyed in the wool. But the Democrats, in the spirit of inclusive,ness, they will accept any candidate, no matter how far off the wall, no matter how insane, criminal, no matter how bigoted, because it's all in the name of inclusion. And because they're so PC and they're caught up in this, they have to actually treat every idiot like they're a legitimate candidate. I mean, it's kind of hysterical to watch when you really see it there, because look, if you got a guy who basically went naked in public wherever he went, and he proclaimed himself to be a Democratic candidate, and he managed to get the signatures and get on the ballot or whatever, or set up a PAC and have money, they would have that guy up on the stage naked. It's madness here, Gerald.
Well, by the way, that's interesting too. When you talk about these debates, for example, they're being run by the corporations. When I was a young guy, there was a thing called the League of Women Voters.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that used to run these debates.
Right.
Now they're just a presidential reality show. We got these little prostitute boys and girls to be equal because they're prostitutes. They get paid to put out by their Washington whoremasters and corporate pimps, just to make it 100% clear. So these aren't debates at all. You got 2 minutes to answer a question, 30 seconds for a debate. What are you talking about? For response? It's a joke. Yeah. The whole thing is a freak show. So going back, that's why we're believing that Trump is going to win in 2020. And again, there are always the wild cards. Nobody can predict the future. And to make it 100% clear, there's no wilder card than the Trump card.
That's for sure. Oh my God. But my favorite is Pete Buttplug by far, because he just seems to stand for nothing and is in favor of everything.
Arrogant. I love how he has dressed up in that, that military uniform there, holding that rifle, looking how tough he is over there in Afghanistan. Yeah, you like going over there murdering innocent people, huh, boy? Oh, no, you didn't. You were driving the general around. I forgot.
Yeah,
You're in Navy intelligence. This guy is a front. He's Harvard, Princeton, Yale, bullets, bombs, and banks, Rhodes Scholar. He's a member of the club that they're pushing forward for the future.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with you more. So people have had it. You've been saying for years, when people lose everything, they lose it. I think that's what we're seeing. And the people in Hong Kong, they know that probably let the Chinese do what they want materially, they'll be fine. But yet, unlike us here in the United States, they still believe in the core principles, the core founding principles of the United States. They're marching around with flags and American flags, singing the Star-Spangled Banner. It's the ultimate irony here, Gerald, because at the same time they're doing this, everybody else here has kind of lost any connection to our founding document and to the principles upon which the country was founded.
Well, you've nailed it 100%. And by the way, there's no fight in this country. Look what they look what they do to the boys. They put them in no bullying zones. Learn how to fight.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't say that with empty words. I'm close combat practitioner, a black belt, had my own school for many years. And I'm not a big guy at about 5'7.5" and 130 pounds.
I wouldn't want to mess with you, Gerald.
Yeah, so I don't go in a bullying zone. If you want to fight, if you're going to cross the line, your life is on the line. You stay on that side. Do what you want to do. I'll do what I want to do. Don't tell me what to do, and I won't tell you what to do.
Yes.
But not in this country anymore. No. They turn men into little boys.
Yeah.
There's no
little
fight.
Girls.
Look at the clowns look at the clowns leading the political reality show. The only one I respect, by the way, is Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes, I agree. I think a lot of her economic theories and principles are totally off the wall, but she gets the whole foreign policy thing. So, and, going back to something you just said, Gerald, when I was growing up, I was bullied and I was a bully and I got beat up, and you get what you deserve. And, I learned valuable life lessons by getting beat up and by persecuting people, and lessons that I still hold near and dear to my heart. When you take that away, the natural selection, the natural behavior of children, and try to make them all kumbaya, love one another, it just doesn't work. It's really you're just castrating these boys, trying to change what is a fact of nature.
Well said, and you're a man to say it. Like what you said, you tell you the good and the bad, And then what do you think? Like I say to people, you think I want everybody to look back at every detail of my life? I won't look at yours, don't look at mine, but I know who I am now, and I've grown, and that's what, oh, by the way, that's why once upon a time, they used to respect the elders.
Yeah.
Because, the longer you're here, the better you get the game. You say, holy Christ, I did that. I can't believe I did that. Yeah. So you grow and you try to become a better person.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was the chief government affairs specialist for the chemical industry.
God.
I was the number 2 guy, moved up at 30 years old. I was the number 2 guy of a major trade association. And I used to stay at the Willard Hotel in D.C. and put my meetings on at the Hay Adams. I was killing environmental legislation at the height of the environmental movement. I could have cared less. All I was interested in was moving up the ranks and making money. That's where my stupid mind was in those days. And when you look at the political system, their minds are still stuck in it as adults.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. Hey, and I think, really, Gerald, if I had to sum up, we've talked so many times, and I think we both agree on this, is you always need to be trying to become the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. I mean, I know it sounds new agey and all that, but when you stop trying to do that, then life, it just isn't as interesting. And what's the purpose at that point?
Well, one of the things that we're recommending to people when they say, what could I do, is when the Greatest Depression hits. And by the way, now you're even seeing it coming out in Forbes magazine, people talking about another depression. And my forecast is it's not going to happen until 2021.
Right.
But I say, get in the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's about building yourself to the highest level. And that's what's needed, as I see it, to face the future. Because the higher you go, the stronger you get. and you could move forward in a more positive manner than if you're not physically, emotionally, and physically fit. You got a tough fight in front of you.
Yeah, totally. And when I hit 60, I said, I'm not feeling as good as I should. I started working out really regularly, hitting the bike rides, long bike rides, just trying to really get my body up to where it should be. I'm never going to be a muscle man, but, trying to help my diet along a little bit. All these things, really things that you need to be doing, and mentally too. How many people really study stuff every day, Gerald, trying to achieve a better understanding of life and trying to really grow? It's a small minority of people that do this. Oh yeah,
very small. I mean, people have no idea the work that goes into the work that we put out, and it's, we're on it constantly. We don't let a second go by without learning information, and it's just not reading it and regurgitating it, studying it, putting down the facts and the data, and then making the forecasts. So it's an everyday concept. And now, just to make it really clear, they just came out with some studies about reading scores in the United States among children, how they've declined. And they haven't moved up in 20 years or something like that from their low, wherever they were. But they're terrible numbers.
Yeah.
And people aren't reading anymore. They're addicted to their handhelds and everything else, the whole high-tech world that they're addicted to. So they're reading less, and what they do read are just empty sound bites of nothing.
Yep, it's very true, because it's hollow calories. Just like there's junk food in your pantry, potato chips, barbecued potato chips, probably the most dangerous dietary substance ever known to man, because it bypasses your limitations on, when you're full. It totally bypasses that part of your brain. But that's the same thing, same type of hollow calories that are downright dangerous, that because people don't read, Gerald. Reading, I've said this many times, is a critical function. When you take in your information via reading, your brain has to analyze and has to, really question what you're reading, unless you're a total mind-numbed robot. But through radio, audio, or not with the exception of this show, but television and video, it bypasses your reasoning center in your brain by using emotional tricks and gets you to believe anything.
No, I hear you. You're 100% right. So people are not prepared for the future. And this thing is going down. It's on the streets. It's in the numbers. And again, what you do and what we do, here's what's next. That's what the Trends Journal is. This thing's going down. It's global.
Yeah.
You think people know what's going on in Iraq, in Chile, in Bolivia, in Hong Kong, in France, in Lebanon, in Zimbabwe, in Peru, in Argentina, in Brazil. They know nothing. They know sound bites of zero.
Yep. It's so true. It's so true. And hey, we try to shed a little light on things. The best way to learn is just to read everything you can and create your own conclusions, form your own conclusions. Trends Journal, great place to start out. What's the deal with Trends Journal now, Gerald?
Weekly. There's no other magazine like it in the world. If you could find me one, let me know. It's the only magazine that tells you what's going on, what it means, and where it's going. Knowledge is power, and that's what this Trends Journal. That's what the Trends Journal is. It's power for the people.
Yep, power for the people, and that's what we want to see. Anyways, we'll have a link to it in the show notes to this interview on Financial Survival Network. Twitter feeds at Kerry Lutz, Facebook page Financial Survival Network. Gerald, it's always a pleasure. Hey, and email us what you think about what Gerald had to say. KL@KerryLutz.com. We'll talk to you again real soon, Gerald. Thanks so much.
And thank you.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.